Welcome back to another episode of Talk How We Talk Sports Talk. This is episode 18, and today's episode is being brought to y'all today by two Louisiana boys. I'm one of the hosts, David O, and I'm here today with my co-host slash
D
producer.
Broussard, D Broussard.
Yes, sir. We in the building. We in the building, man. How you thinking about them play-in so far, man?
Oh man, they been kind of crazy, man. I knew the Hornets was gonna pull it off, but um, you know, I guess the teams that I thought was gonna win, in the first round, they won. But that second round I don't know. I feel like it can go either way.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be crazy, bro. I ain't gonna lie. That Hornets game, I was like, man, Lamelo at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah, yeah,
Lamelo came through.
yeah. He came through. He
Yeah,
came through.
man. And then
Yeah.
we had the Blazers with the
Mhm.
upset on the Suns. So now the
Mhm.
Suns playing the Warriors tonight. Hornets with the Magics tonight. Last time I checked the score on the Hornets game, they was down. I think they was
Yeah,
down
they
by
down big. It's a
yeah, they was
blowout.
down by 20, man.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting that, but
Nah.
today we're gonna be getting into the Western Conference, playoff bracket. We're gonna be giving our predictions on the games, talking about some of the games. What's the keys to victory, and you know, next round of the playoffs as well. So, without further ado, we like to get into the show. But before we do that, we want to thank everybody for subscribing to the
Mhm.
channel. Please continue to subscribe, like, and comment. We do appreciate y'all. And I'm gonna let my boy D take over, and we're gonna get right into it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, like always, we got to jump into our segment like we do every show. What you think? Now, what you think is a segment of our show where we go through different topics and we give you guys our perspective on each one of these topics. And first off, what you think, Do? We got to go OKC versus Suns or Warriors. What you thinking? What you feel?
Well, I'm thinking that the Warriors is gonna be the team that's playing OKC, and the reason why I'm going with the Warriors is just because they got the momentum. I feel like they got the momentum going into this game, being that they just beat the Clippers. And
Hmm.
the Suns, they lost to the Portland Trailblazers when they was up in the fourth quarter, so they just had that collapse. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking uh, the Warriors is going to be playing against OKC, and in that round, I'm gonna have to go with OKC. They're the defending champs. They got SGA. MVP candidate. He been great all year. On any given night, he can get you 30 points plus. And the rest of the team, I mean, they just got elite defense. They have depth in their lineup. OKC with their defense, they can guard multiple positions, and they wear teams down. Over the length of the game and especially over series. So for some of those reasons is the reason why I'm going with OKC. But I do think that the Warriors can go ahead and give them a run for their money,
Mm.
just because they got Steph, which you can't never count Steph out, and they still got Draymond Green, who actually had lockdown defense on Kawhi Leonard.
Mm.
That fourth quarter, man, kept him down to only 2 points in the fourth quarter. So I like OKC and maybe 5 to 6 games taking it all, but I do think it's going to be a close series, though.
Mm. Yeah, for me, I'm kind of torn between the Suns and the Warriors. That's actually a game that I'm looking forward to as far as the play in. Because I kind of want to take the Suns in that one. I feel like the Suns are gonna kind of like recoup, kind of regroup and get themselves together. Suns been playing good basketball all season long, and I feel like they had a younger team to kind of give Golden State a little run. But I do feel like you said, Golden State with the defense, Draymond Green, and I feel like this is also gonna be another opportunity for Jalen Green to show up. Obviously he didn't show up against the Warriors last year. When they played the Rockets, he ended up getting traded because of the fact. So I feel like Jalen Green definitely got to show up in that matchup against the Warriors. And that's kind of a matchup I'm looking forward to as far as a player. And I'm kind of torn between the two, but ultimately I like the Suns. And you know, if the Suns play against OKC, obviously, I got to go with OKC because I feel like OKC just a better team. But yeah, man, I like the Suns. I like the young guys. I like what they doing. I like Devin Booker. I think D Book finna go crazy in this game against the Warriors. And the Suns play pretty good defense as well, and they got a deep bench. Everybody can shoot. So gonna be a real good matchup, Suns versus Warriors. So I say I'm kind of torn between the two. I can't really say right now. I gotta watch the game and see what happens. But ultimately, though, I like the Suns. And now,
Yeah, I mean, all of those reasons you just gave is good reasons to like the Suns. With them having the young team, like you mentioned, D Booker,
mm-hmm,
Jalen Green, so I don't see no problem with either team. It's just for me, I just don't never want to count Steph out because playoff Steph is just different. You know what
mm-hmm,
I'm saying? And when he get hot, and then they got the just they have championship they have championship chemistry. Them two
mm-hmm,
guys, they've been together for a very long time. I know the whole team ain't, the championship team that it was, when they were winning them, but they still got two of their core pieces. And I think if they're able to get the rest of the team to, you know, just do their part and let them do their part, I think they'll be all right. But I do
mm.
like either team in this matchup.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just kind of feel like the thing that hurt the Clippers in that matchup, excuse me, the thing that hurt the Clippers in that matchup against the Warriors is that they didn't really have much shooting. I feel like the Suns have more shooting than the Clippers. And like I say, I can't really call it, but I just feel like it's gonna be a better matchup for the Warriors because obviously Steph being Steph, but Steph is kind of banged up a little bit. So
Mm.
we'll see, But like I say, I don't know, I can't call it, but I like the Suns, me personally. And we'll see what happens.
Yep, yep. It's coming
Next up,
on in a little bit, so we're
huh?
gonna see. I say it's coming on in a little bit, so we're gonna see.
Yeah, yeah. Next up, Nuggets versus Timberwolves. First round playoff matchup. What you think, Dio?
With this one, I'm gonna have to go with the Nuggets. I'm leaning towards the Nuggets on this one, and the reason why I'm going with the Nuggets, I'm thinking they're gonna go probably Game 6, But I like the Nuggets because of Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
When Jokic is on the floor, I mean, he's just he always give them a chance to win, and he basically controls the floor when he's on there, and with his passing, with his scoring ability as well. So I like the Nuggets for those two reasons. Also, they have championship experience as well.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't win the championship before, so I think the Nuggets also know how to adjust very well when they're in playoff series. So I think they do know how to adjust very well to the situations that they may become involved in. And I just think that the Wolves is just they still just still need to develop a little more, even though they have some veteran players on their team. I just
Mm-hmm.
don't think that they don't have the championship experience, and I think that's some of the only reasons that really separate the two because they still have those veteran guys, with AE Anthony Edwards, Goldberg, what's the other guy who came from the Lakers and came from the Knicks? What's his
Um,
name?
from the Lakers and the Knicks for Minnesota.
Yeah, I can't think of his name. Randall.
Oh yeah, Julius Randle.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So they do got, they got some veterans on the team, and
Mm-hmm.
some solid players. But I
Mm-hmm.
just think that at the end of the day, Nuggets have veterans too. They have solid players as well, and
Mm-hmm.
they have that championship experience. So I'm leaning towards Nuggets in six.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I think I gotta agree with you on that. Uh, I think ultimately, I think the Nuggets will take it. Like you said, they just have championship experience. They've been playing really well these last couple games, and obviously Jokic, Jamal Murray. They got a good bench. Some depth, some shooters. So, my thing with the Timberwolves is I feel like without a guy that was a key part of their team last year. Nikhil Alexander Walker, he was a huge part of their team last year. He went to Atlanta, and I just feel like without him, I feel like this Wolves teams is they a little bit different than last year. Ultimately, AE gonna get his points. He gonna do what he do. But I just feel like as far as the depth and the experience, I think that matters. And Denver look like they ready to go on a good run. They looking like they ready to, possibly make it to the finals, especially the way they've been playing here as of late. So yeah, I think I gotta go with the Nuggets in this one. Even though I like the Timberwolves and the Elvis is one of my favorite current players in the NBA today, but I just don't think they have enough as far as the depth and things of that nature to match up against the Denver Nuggets. And it's gonna be a problem down low with Jokic and Rudy Gobert battling down there. Obviously Rudy Gobert is uh 3-time defensive player of the year.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be a battle down there, a battle of the big men. So I'm looking forward to seeing that most definitely. But ultimately I think Nuggets probably gonna take that one.
Yeah, and that's what I'm glad you mentioned that too with Rudy Goldberg about the defense because I was actually about to bring that up as well. Like Minnesota, they tend to lean more on their defense than offensive scoring, and
Mm,
like with the Nuggets, they more of an offensive team than defense when it comes to the two. So I
mm.
think it's going to be offense versus defense. So I think it's going to be close. But at the end of the day, I still think Nuggets probably taking in about six.
Right, right. Yeah, I agree with that. I just think the Nuggets just had a better, more complete team. They
Hmm.
have more shooting than the Timberwolves. And to me, the Timberwolves, they still gotta find a true point guard, I believe. Mike Conley was their true point guard for a long time, but obviously, he kind of fading out. He's still on the team, but he ain't really been playing that much. So I still feel like the Timberwolves need more shooting and a true point guard to kind of set everybody up. So I feel like that's gonna kind of hurt them a little bit going up against the Nuggets.
Yep. Well, we shall see. We shall see.
Next up, Spurs versus the Blazers. What you think, Dio?
Man, I'm leaning towards the Spurs in this one, and because of Wimby. He been and because of the run they've been having too. They had a great run like late in the season as well. I mean, they jumped the rankings. They was I forgot where they were, but I think they're currently at number 2 seed. So they beat OKC. Couple matchups this year. Wimby's been playing great.
Mm,
So for some of those reasons, that's why I'm leaning towards the Spurs over the Blazers. Now, but and I really didn't expect the Blazers to do much at all, this year. So they kind of surprised me,
mm,
by even making it, to a playoff series. I was actually thinking that, they wasn't gonna make it at all,
mm,
but they ended up making it through the play-in. So, but I still like the Spurs just because of Wimby. How the team's been playing. Spurs. That organization. They've won several championships before, so the organization I think is very well ran,
mm,
and I think that the Blazers just they're not there yet. They're not ready to make the next leap or go far in the Western Conference. So
mm.
for some of those reasons is why I think Spurs take it.
Right. Yeah, I definitely gotta agree with you. I feel like the Spurs probably gonna take this one. Um, like you said, they beat OKC pretty much all year, and they just you gotta tip your head off to the Spurs organization for continuing to build teams that continue to compete in the Western Conference. They had a drought for a little while, but ultimately they was able to get Victor Wembanyama and put some good pieces around him. You got Stephen Castle, um, the Harper kid. Um, you just got a lot of good pieces around Wemby as well. Like a lot. I think his name is like Vassell or something like that. Uh, the Barnes cat that used to be with Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Harrison Barnes.
Yeah,
So
Harrison.
I mean, you got these guys, man. They all shooters. So it's like you surrounded him around some really good players, and I think the Spurs are gonna be pretty good for a long time. And I honestly think they may go to the NBA Finals this year. I'm gonna be honest. I really feel like the Spurs might end up in the NBA Finals. I still think OKC is the favorite, but
Mm-hmm.
I think Spurs got a really good chance to go to the NBA Finals. And as far as the Blazers go, um, I really like the Blazers. I like Danny Abdia. I think he coming off that 40-point performance
Mm-hmm.
against the Suns. And I really, really like his game. I like what he brings to the table. And I just feel like with the Blazers, I feel like if they had a healthy Dame Lillard this season, it probably would have been a different story. Because they really have a good team. You got Drew Holiday, Scoot Henderson, um, Danny Avdia, of course. They got a nice big out there. Good coach in Tiago Splitter. Um, and it's another guy as well. I can't think of his name right off the back. He a high flyer. Um, but the Grant kid, Horace Grant's son, or his brother's son out there,
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy Grant. So
Oh yeah,
yeah, I
Grant.
like the
Yeah,
Blazers, man.
and
But
he came
I
from
just
OKC too, huh?
huh?
I think Jeremy Grant came from OKC, huh?
I think so. I
Yeah,
think so.
I think he was with them.
Yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the Blazers, man, they got a good team. I just don't feel like this their year. I feel like next year they probably gonna be a whole lot better with Dame Lillard back healthy. They gonna be a problem once Dame Lillard come back because the team already good right now without him. So once he
Mm-hmm.
come back, yeah, Blazers gonna be a problem. I look for them to be a problem next season, but not this season. Spurs, I feel, gonna take this one though.
Yeah. But they, like you say, with all of those guys that they have, the Blazers, they do have an opportunity to, maybe steal a couple of games. But I
Yeah.
think at the end of the day, just Spurs will take it. Just because when y'all, Wimby, he got rim protection.
Mm-hmm.
He can score. I mean, he's a big man that's shooting threes.
Mm.
And size advantage. I think Spurs have it over Portland, but I
Mm.
do think that they can steal a couple of games and make it interesting.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be honestly, I think it's gonna be a real good series though. I think I think the Blazers gonna definitely, give them a run for their money for sure. They gonna compete, so
Hmm.
it's gonna be a good series. I mean, don't be surprised if the Blazers still like two or three of them in the series, just because, like I say, the Blazers on fire right now, and they playing some good basketball. So, don't be surprised if they still maybe one or two. But like you say, Spurs probably gonna pull it off though.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the Blazers though. But I think that's the end of the road for 'em.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they gonna probably lose the series. You know what I'm saying? But you gonna see a good series though. I'm telling you,
No, yeah, yeah,
Blazers,
yeah.
the
I think
Blazers for
I think
real
all
though.
the
Them boys
matchups
hooping.
gonna be. I think all the matchups is gonna be good series because like I think all of the teams is like really good matchups. Like
Yeah,
Wolves with the you know with the Nuggets. Lakers with Rockets, which is up next. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I think they all good series, man.
right.
It's gonna be a good
Yeah, they
play.
all gonna be good series. I feel like first round gonna be tough. It's hard to call, but it's like the good teams. They gonna probably pull it off. But yeah, it's gonna be some battles in that first round.
For real.
Lakers versus Rockets. What you think, Dio?
And with Lakers and Rockets, I think this one going to Game 7. I think this is the gonna be like I mentioned on the last episode. I think this is gonna be one of the better series.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, as much as I want to say Rockets, I think I'm going towards Lakers. I think LeBron James just finds a way
Mm-hmm.
to win it for the Lakers in Game 7. I think it's
That's a
going to
fact.
7 games, but I think just with LeBron James, having all of the years of experience in playoffs, championships, battle tested all around, I think even without Luca and without Austin Reeves not being there, I think LeBron, because he didn't have those guys when he won in Cleveland. He had one superstar in Kyrie Irving, and they was down 3-1, and he made a come. They made a comeback. Let me not say he, but he was a big part of it. But they made a comeback to be able to win, and I think he's then seen it all, done it all. So I think LeBron James can really pull off this series, but I think it's going to be very hard for him. I think it will
Mm-hmm.
go to Game 7. Um, but I still like the Rockets just because they're a young team,
Mm-hmm.
very young team. They're a very lengthy team. A stat that I seen early in the season, like almost everybody was like 6'10", 6'11". You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So they're a very big team, and I think that's gonna make it hard on the Lakers. With them kind of being a little smaller. They got Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton. I don't really know much about all of the other guys, heights and things,
Mm-hmm.
but I think just the Rockets got a size advantage over the Lakers. But I think with LeBron, kind of like with Steph Curry, you can't never count LeBron out. He's
Mm-hmm.
gonna give it his all. He has to give it his all. Being that his two other pieces is out. Hopefully Luca can make a comeback. I think Austin Reeves is out for the first round for sure, but maybe Luca can come back. Maybe around the later part of the first round, and maybe give him some help. And I think if he does come back to be able to give LeBron some help, I think that's going to be a key factor in the Lakers pulling it off. But I do like both teams. But again, the Rockets being young, not experienced, I think that's what gives LeBron James that edge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in this one right here, I gotta agree with you. I think the Lakers gonna pull it off. Uh, Obviously, I'm riding with Bron, ride or die, and I just feel like Bron gonna pull it off. The last couple games in the season, the way he looked without Austin Reeves and um Luka Doncic, like I said, it looked like vintage LeBron. And LeBron, all he really need is just a couple guys to buy into
Hmm.
winning, and it's a different team. Guys start making shots, guys gonna defend, and I just feel like Brian gonna pull it off. I really do. I've been saying about the Rockets all year. I felt like the Rockets had a better team last year than what they do this year, just because of the depth. Obviously, they have more experience with having Kevin Durant, but I still feel like the Rockets missing their point guard. They need that
Yeah.
Fred Van Fred Van Fleet guy. They need him, and I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm kind of torn between the two because both have good teams, but ultimately, I just feel like Brian finna go in what they call it, the Fountain of Youth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Brian
for
finna
real.
go in the Fountain of Youth
For real.
and pull it off. Like that's just how I feel, and
Yeah.
it's just coming from me watching them play like those last two games in the season,
Hmm.
and Brian was like back to Brian, like because Brian be having to take a step back because Luca.
Yeah.
But man, Brian was looking like Brian again. I was like,
Yeah.
man, it's looking bad in the playoffs. They better get ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Brian, and then I was seeing too, like this is the first with his son. I think they were saying this is like the first playoff like for like a father son duo. So
Mm-hmm.
that's another stat, to add to his stat book. But also, with half court execution, I think the Lakers just, they thrive better than the Rockets when the game slows down, because the Rockets, they like to rely on like a lot of speed and transition. They like to get on fast breaking runs and stuff. And when they in the half court, they like to play a lot of ISO, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that might hurt them. The Rockets at least, and then also because of like I said, they just so young, still
Mm-hmm.
very inexperienced. And like you said, LeBron, he just you know when he get that swagger back, it's hard to stop him. And it's like it don't take much for him to
Mm-mm.
to get going. It really don't. You know, it's like he get one good dunk and then the monster just come out.
That's
You
it.
know what I'm
That's
saying?
it. Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
like
he just, Brian just Brian needs shooters. If
yeah.
Brian got shooters, and like I said earlier, if guys knocking down their shots, like the team that turned the team into a whole different team just with guys knocking down shots, because Brian gonna facilitate, he gonna dish it out, he gonna you just long as they knocking down shots, they
Hmm.
got a chance. Cause Brian gonna he do it all. He gonna rebound, he gonna defend, he gonna make shots himself, he gonna get to the cup. They just need a rebound and make shots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. And that's what he always been throughout his career. You know, he never and he says that all the time. Like he said that all the time. Like he ain't trying to be. You know, he'll do it if he have to, but he's the type of player to where he try to get his teammates involved. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he's wanting to get you the ball. He's wanting you to knock down shots, and that's how he always been. But it's
Mm-hmm.
just, it's just with his level of greatness, his teammates sometimes, look at him like, go ahead and be great. You know, but
Yeah.
he's more of a,
Yeah.
he want to be able to,
Facilitator.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. And I like the rant, man. I feel like KD gonna do his thing. He gonna put up some numbers. But it's like you said too, man. It's just the young guys is still questionable for me. I just don't know if they gonna be ready.
mm,
Jabbar Smith Jr. and um the other kid, Reed Shepard.
Reed
You
Shepard,
know,
yeah,
yeah, those guys. I just don't know if they're gonna be ready. That's the only thing. But KD gonna do him,
yeah,
and the center, Shangoon, he gonna do him. He gonna get his 20, 10 rebounds. It's just the other guys, the supporting cast is
yeah.
what makes me worry about the Rockets. That supporting cast, can they be ready to bring it?
Yeah, yeah, and I think both teams got home court advantage. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
I think what can make the difference in this series is if one of those teams is gonna have to steal one on the other court. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
Lakers fan base is great. Houston Rockets fan base is great. Both teams play well at home.
mm-hmm,
I think that's also gonna be a decision maker in this series. Is like who can steal one on the road. You can't
mm-hmm.
just depend on the home. You gotta be able to take one on the road.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah, you gotta be the one on the road, especially in the playoffs. You gotta at least be able to steal one, maybe two on the road. You steal two, you good, but yeah, gotta at least steal one on the road
Yep.
to be in the series.
So
So yeah,
I think
that's
that's
true.
I think that's gonna be a factor too for Houston
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think they can go to LA and not with that LA crowd, but I think LA can come to Houston
That's a
and
fact.
still, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's gonna be interesting. It's like you said, it's a lot of good matchups in that first round, man. A lot of good matchups. It's some of them kind of hard to call. I mean,
mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say some. I'm gonna say some, but it's two that I would say I know. At least the OKC one and the Spurs. I feel like those kind of like clear cut. But like the
Mm-hmm.
rest of them, to me, I'm like in between because I don't really know. Even the Nuggets and Timberwolves one is like I want to go with the Nuggets, but I just know that boy and the L was different in the playoffs though. Like so, I don't know. It's gonna be tough.
No, for real. Like I said, I picked the Nuggets, but Timberwolves can pull it off. They definitely can.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely can, bro. My
Yeah,
son, he loved Anthony Edwards. Like he got
yeah.
Anthony
I
Edwards
love him too.
shoes and and like he a beast, man. That dude a beast, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I
Yeah,
always
man.
like the Timberwolves too, though. Like I always did like them. Like when
Yeah. When
Garnett was there,
KG and all them boys are there, yeah, I
Charles
liked them too.
Freewell, all them boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam Cassell, all them boys.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I always did like the Timberwolves.
Yeah. You got anything else, Dio?
No, I'm good, man. That's it on my end. That's our predictions for Western Conference first round of the playoffs. We want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Talk how we talk sports talk. We definitely appreciate y'all. I'll be looking out for the next episode. We're gonna get back with y'all once we get these updates on these games. About to go watch that Suns and Warriors. About to go place my bet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Robin Hood, shout out, man. Holla at
Yeah, Robin Hood. Yeah,
Trav.
holler at us, man. We need that endorsement.
No, for real. Anybody, Prize Picks, DraftKings, Robin Hood. We take anybody.
Yeah. Taking anybody, man.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Like my boy Do say, man, y'all make sure y'all like and subscribe to the channel. Seeing we got a few new subscribers this week. So yeah,
Appreciate
make
y'all.
sure y'all like and subscribe, man. We appreciate y'all, man. And as long as y'all keep subscribing, we gonna keep on bringing y'all this content.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, talk
Be
how we
out.
talk, man.
How we talk, man. Y'all have a good night.
Yes, sir.